All right, we're live. So, welcome to the weekend recap for, September 24th through the 26th, 2021. Not a whole lot of fights this weekend, but I'll tell you what, some darn good fights overall this weekend happened. And last night was UFC 266, amazing event, well worth the $70 that it cost. And if I watch pay-per-view, I usually watch it at home, pay the full price. And if not, then I will go like somewhere that is showing it and watch there. So, but anyway, let's get down into it. We're going to go straight into these fights because I don't have a lot of time tonight. And then we're going to talk about who's next for Valentina Shevchenko. So first up, on Friday, we had one championship revolution. Had one bout. Victoria Lee defeated Victoria Souza via TKO in the second round. Lee climbed to 3-0. Souza fell to 5-1. I just did a review video on this. I published it last night. You can go check that out if you want to. Honestly thought that Souza was the more technical fighter, even though she has a lot less martial arts experience than Lee. But Lee was just the much bigger, stronger fighter and was able to do a lot of things that someone more Souza's size probably might not have been able to, considering their skill disparity. And then on Friday night, we were supposed to have Catherine Paprocki taking on Hillary Rose at strawweight at LFA 115. Unfortunately, Hillary Rose missed weight, and then she started getting like severe abdominal pain, went to the hospital, and turned out that she had an ovarian cyst burst. So that fight was canceled. Best wishes to Hillary Rose on a recovery. No idea if Paprocki still got paid for making weight or not. But best wishes to Hillary Rose and her recovery. Then on Saturday, Evelina Wozniak defeated Salmon Beek via, I believe, TKO at Brave 54 in Poland. I believe this full fight is available on the Wmma subreddit. If you want to go check it out, the full fight video should be up there. If not, you can look for Evelina Wozniak's Instagram. She has the finish up on a video on her Instagram page. Then Almighty FC, I believe this was number 10, went down on Saturday. Lanchana Green defeated Jade Barker via first round TKO. Might remember Lanchana Green. I mentioned this on Thursday night. Lanchana Green was like on the second strawweight season of Tough, the one that was like half strawweights and then half, I believe, light heavyweights. Did not make it to the UFC after that, but she has been, kind of chugging along over there in the regional scene in the UK. The reason I included this fight on Thursday night and tonight, not just because Green was on Tough at one point, but also Lanchana. This is like one of the first ladies fights that I've seen come out of the UK since COVID started. I mean, I don't know what's up with Cage Warriors. They used to have ladies fights on a somewhat regular basis, but they haven't since COVID, and whereas this just went on. So it's nice to see that, at least some promotion over there in the UK scene is putting up ladies bouts. Besides Bellator, which is going there this weekend. Then on Saturday night, UFC, big card, UFC 266. One bout on the prelims, two ladies bouts on the main card. First up on the prelims, Tyler Santos defeated Roxanne Modafferi via unanimous decision. I'll tell you what, I've been very slow to get behind Tyler Santos just because, well, one, the loss in her UFC debut to Mara Romero Barella, that does not look good. And then her next two wins, one of them was like a Romali McCann, which is nothing special, and then Jillian Robertson. Anybody who has the least bit of athleticism tends to get by Jillian Robertson. So I wasn't too impressed by Tyler Santos, but I'll tell you what, I was very impressed with her performance in this bout. Not only was she picking apart Modafferi at range in the striking, but she took down Modafferi and just absolutely controlled and dominated her on the ground. They didn't get so much ground and pound going her way, but just the way she was able to take down like a ground specialist like Modafferi and just absolutely control her like that, very impressive. Now, I don't know why she insisted on taking Modafferi down every round when she was clearly ahead in the striking. I mean, just absolutely picking Modafferi apart at range. And then she just kept clinching and taking her down. Maybe she wanted to show that she could do that, which I can appreciate, but sometimes you just want to, I mean, if something's working, why switch it up? But still, very impressive performance from Taila Santos. She finally impressed me. She is definitely someone to watch out for in this division. Other people were saying that she was, but I got to see something of substance. I got to see like a good win of substance before I can get behind someone and say, yeah, this fighter is a legit prospect. And I'll tell you what, people like to use the term gatekeeper, you know, disparagingly. I don't. To me, Roxanne Modafferi is what you would call a gatekeeper, but I mean that in all the good ways. Like, you got to get by Roxanne Modafferi. You can't get by just on skills alone if you don't have the strength and athleticism. But on the other hand, you can't get by Modafferi on strength and athleticism alone. The strength and athleticism and your skills got to be somewhat on par with each other. You know, I talk about that a lot. You know, the skill advantage, the technical fighter versus the natural athlete. We knew Santos was a natural athlete coming in, but she was showing some technical discrepancies, whereas this fight really showed that she can be just as technical as well as she is, you know, strong and athletic on her own. And that's the type of fighter you have to be to get by Roxanne Modafferi. So that's when I say Roxanne Modafferi is a good gatekeeper, I mean it in that way. Like, the natural athletes don't just get by her on strength and brute force and athleticism alone. Otherwise, Macy Barber would have beaten her. But on the other hand, you might be good technically, but so is Roxanne Modafferi. So you've got to have that athleticism to get by her as well. Santos has both. That's why she passed the test. She got past the gate that Modafferi represents in that flyweight division. I believe Modafferi's number 9. So, and Santos was number 12. So you can definitely expect to see Taila Santos in the top 10 when the new rankings come out on Monday or Tuesday. Then on the main card, also at flyweight, all 3 ladies' bouts this weekend were in the flyweight division, or on UFC 266, I should say. But Jessica Andraj defeated Cynthia Calvillo via TKO in the first round. Andraj, you do not want to stand and strike with her. And Cynthia Calvillo, I don't know what has gotten into her. Maybe it was from being with Justin Buchholz for a while, and he was helping her improve her striking a lot, and they've split up, and now she's gone like a couple different ways since then, including Tiger Muay Thai. Maybe that helped influence her mindset, but Cynthia Calvillo has it in her mindset that she is like a striker, when she is a much better wrestler and grappler than she is a striker. I don't know why she thought. It's like she just kept wanting to stand with Andraj. Like, didn't even try really to take her down in that for as long as the fight lasted. And Andraj, you know, a lot of people do not give Jessica Andraj credit. They think she gets by on brute force and strength alone, but that is simply not true. What Jessica Andraj does, she knows that she is brute force personified in that division. She knows she's one of the strongest women in that division, but she knows how to use that strength to her advantage. She plays on that by knowing that she has to be the one moving forward. Otherwise, she's not going to be able to bring that strength to bear. She cuts off the cage very well. So she moves forward. She cuts off the cage very well. I had a third point, and I can't remember it. Anyway, Jessica Andraj, she is an absolute force in the flyweight division. 2-0 now against top 10 fighters, including the number 1 fighter or number 2 fighter in Katlyn Chookagian. Andraj is scary. She's scary at any division. You know, she was scary enough at bantamweight, where if I remember correctly, she held the win over Raquel Pennington. She was darn scary as a strawweight, where she beat everyone not named Wmma and Zahn. And now she's scary at flyweight, where so far she's shown capable of beating anyone not named Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, she is like a perennial contender no matter where she goes. And I don't know why, but she was calling out strawweights after this win. It's like she wanted Rose or Zahn, or she might have called out Joanna. I can't remember. But I know she called out Rose and Weili Zahn. And it's like, well, if you're going to call out strawweights, why are you fighting at flyweight? I mean, call out other flyweights. Or maybe she wants to move back down to strawweight. I don't know. I mean, she could. She never had any problem making strawweight. It's just I'm kind of confused about what she wants exactly. But Jessica Andraj, she's a problem for everybody, period. Like, nobody ever really has an easy night against Jessica Andraj. Like, yeah, you could say what Zahn did because the fight lasted, 40 seconds? I don't think the fight would go that same way, honestly, but we'd have to see. But, man, what the heck is Jessica? I feel bad for whoever steps in front of Jessica Andraj next. I don't envy him, that's for sure. Cynthia Calvillo, she's got to start playing to her strengths if she wants to be competitive. She's got to quit striking with people, with strikers. Then in the co-main event, flyweight championship, Valentina Shevchenko just absolutely dominated Lauren Murphy. I mean, there is no other word for it. Dominated. Finished her in the 4th round, hit her with I believe a right hand that kind of like knocked Murphy off her balance. As she was coming back up from catching her balance, Shevchenko hit her with a kick and followed her to close with the striking. I thought Valentina probably could have finished that fight a few times earlier, but it's just the way she is. She's always defensively minded unless like the finish is absolutely presented to her. She's not the type of fighter who's going to chase a finish unless it is like slapping her in the face. And it works for her. I mean, I can't blame her. It works for her. If a fighter is not going to come to her, she's not going to take the fight to her opponent unless, and sometimes last night she was taking it to Lauren Murphy a little bit because Murphy just got so hesitant that Valentina has no choice but to chase her. Murphy did honestly, she did better, I think, than anyone expected her to. By the time it got into the championship rounds, I started thinking, wow, she might actually make this. And I was making, joke tweets last night on Twitter. I was saying, like, every time she got past a round, I said, hey, if you bet on Lauren Murphy to make it past such and such round, go collect your money. Because I bet there probably were people making prop bets like that last night. They probably did make some money because nobody was giving Lauren Murphy any chance here. So basically every round that she out-survived was basically proving people wrong. I mean, she did some things right. Like she stopped Valentina's first takedown attempt. Now, I'm not sure how committed Valentina was to it, but she stopped Valentina's takedown attempt. Valentina took it to the cage, and Murphy was able to reverse it and went for her own takedown. Of course, she didn't get it, but that was a nice sequence there for Lauren Murphy. That was easily her best moment in that fight. And that was in, I think, the 2nd round. So, I mean, look, for someone that nobody gave a chance, she did as good as she could. And that's all really you can say about Lauren. So the big question that is now on everyone's mind is what is next, or who's next for Valentina? I mean, who is next for her in the flyweight division? A lot of people are saying they want the 3rd Nunes fight. I'll be honest, I couldn't care less to watch that fight again. The first fight was good. The second fight was an absolute snooze fest. And I think the third fight would again be an absolute snooze fest. I don't, because neither of those fighters are going to risk much in order to win. So let's see what she has as far as the. Let me pull up the rankings here real quick, because we got to figure out who we can get in there against Valentina. Let me enlarge this a little bit. All right. So Andraj just lost. Like, that was Valentina's last opponent. She's not going to be fighting her anytime soon because she only has one win since then. And now she's calling out strawweights. Caitlin was only like, what, a year ago she lost to her? And she's been calling out all kinds of fighters since then. I think Chukaghian is just at the point where she's like, I've got to get as many wins as possible in order to get back there to fight Valentina. So I don't think they're going to give it to Chukaghian. Murphy just lost. Maya just lost to her recently. Calvillo just lost to Andraj. And you got Joanne Calderwood, who is going to fight Alexa Grasso. Honestly, I think that's going to be the next one. The winner of Calderwood versus Grasso, which I hope it is Grasso. Nothing against JoJo. I'm just a Grasso fan. But also, I don't want to see a fighter get freaking... I think Calderwood's coming off a loss, if I remember correctly. Let me look that up. Let's see here. Julian Culverwood. Yeah, she's like win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. So she has been alternating wins and losses for her last 6 fights. And she's coming off a loss. So if she gets by Grasso, then she's only on 1 win. And nobody wants to see someone like that get a title shot. Whereas at least with Grasso, I think that'll be 3 straight wins for her in the division. Yeah, she beat Kim, she beat Barber, and Calderwood will be her fight that really moves her inside the top 10. So that wouldn't be so bad. I don't give Grasso much of a chance against Shevchenko. I think she can make it interesting on the feet a little bit, but not on the ground, which I think Chavchenko will probably take it to there at some point. She takes every opponent to the ground at some point. So you got possibly winner of Calderwood versus Grasso. Viviane Araújo. We're getting too far down into the top 10 here at number 7. Then Jessica I. No. And then Roxy, who just lost. Grasso is facing Calderwood. Then that's the top 10. Man, it is looking barren here. Santos possibly moving into the top 10. Barber just barely got by Maverick. Got De La Rosa. Maverick just lost to Barber. De La Rosa's barely ranked. A lot of people want to see Manon Fiorot get up there in the rankings, but she has to actually beat someone who matters to do that first. Yeah. Chavchenko, she's just gone through everybody in this division. So unless she takes like a good 6 months to a year off just to say, hey, division, get yourself sorted out, man, she's just going to be going farther and further down the rankings just to beating up on people. So even though I know I don't want to see it, I don't know how many other people actually want to see it. I guess there's some clamoring for it. They could do the Nunes trilogy fight, but that's if Amanda wants to take it. And Amanda has no reason to take that. Look, people can argue till they're blue in the face that Valentina won the second fight. But guess what? That's not what the results say. So as long as Amanda has 2 official wins against her, there is no incentive for Amanda to want to take that 3rd fight. Unless they drop a bag of money in front of her, there's no real incentive for Nunes to want to take that fight. I just don't see it happening. Now, and I don't know why. I don't understand it. there's still some clamoring for Weili Zhang versus Shevchenko. And that's because of Zhang calling her out pretty much as soon as she got the belt. But guess what? She doesn't have the belt anymore. She barely got by Joanne Calderwood. And then she lost to Rose Namajunas in, 78 seconds? I'm sorry, but any possibility of that fight ever happening went up in 78 seconds. Went up in smoke. Complete smoke. There's zero desire to want to see that fight at this point. Zero sensible desire to want to see that fight at this point. Zhang is barely holding on to the top of the strawweight division. For her to go up in weight, she's going to be smaller. She's going to be a smaller fighter. And we've seen what Shevchenko does to fighters her own size, let alone what she's going to do to fighters who are smaller than her. I just don't see that happening. It just doesn't make sense. Even from like a dollar and cents perspective, it doesn't make sense. So other than the winner of Calderwood, Grasso, and if it's Calderwood, even not nearly as much as if it were to be like Grasso, who would be on a winning streak. Man, there is a dearth of competition right now for Valentina Shevchenko. She is just that good. And this is coming from someone who doesn't even like her. I don't like her. Just don't. She just rubs me. Something about her rubs me the wrong way. I don't know. But there's no denying that she is the most dominant champ in the UFC right now. Period. Like more dominant than Amanda. Easily. And definitely more skilled. And I hate having to say that, but she is. So I just don't know what they're going to do next for Valentina Shevchenko. Anyway, since we talked about that, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it because there honestly isn't a whole lot to talk about. Let's move into this coming weekend. There's a lot going on this coming weekend. Friday, we have Bellator London. They have a strawweight bout, Chavchenko versus, let's see. I believe this young lady's name is Katarina Delisa. Should be, they have similar records. I don't know anything about Delisa other than her record is 5-2. Penko is 5-3. So very similar records. You know, one of those odd, Bellator strawweight bouts that they have every once in a while. So I guess we'll just take it for what it's worth. Then they have a flyweight bout between two of their, European signings. Lucy Berthaud coming in at 3-2. French woman taking on Elena Calianado coming in at 7-4. The Greek. This is going to be a tough one for Calianado here on the right because Berthaud's coming in off of 2 straight wins, whereas Calianado's coming in off of 2 straight losses. So should make for an interesting one. And then the one I think everyone's going to be watching on the main card here is in the co-main event, Leah McCourt taking on Jessica Borga in the featherweight division. This should be a good one. Borga is only 3-3. McCourt, so she actually has the same number of fights as Leah McCourt, who's coming in at 5-1. McCourt had a come from behind win just against what was her name? Tall girl I like, Janae Harding. She had a come from behind win against Janae Harding. That was really nice to see. Good effort by her. Of course, this is actually a step down in competition for her against Jessica Borga, at least on paper. We'll have to see skill-wise, but I haven't seen anything really to be impressed by Borga. But that's the co-main event. I'm not sure what time this starts. Let me see. Oh, man, this is like 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, my time, on the East Coast on Friday. So I guess I'll be watching this at work during my downtime. But we'll see. And then Friday night, Game Bread, Bare Knuckle MMA having their second event. They've got a couple of strawweight bouts. I can't remember this young lady's first name. Something Lawson taking on Andy Nguyen. And then for me, the more interesting bout here is going to be Isis Verbeek versus this Medina girl. I've watched, I think, all of Isis Verbeek's pro MMA bouts. She's shown a lot of improvement lately. Her last couple bouts came the way of Icon on, what do you call it, UFC Fight Pass. And she showed a lot of improvement. I mean, her her grappling game was like non-existent when she made her debut in Invicta a few years back. But now her ground game has gotten better to the point that, she can keep the fight on the feet or get back up if she gets taken down. And it helps her her striking more tremendously. She's a lot more confident with her striking now. So that is on the BKTV app. I might watch this event. I don't know. Then on Saturday, I don't know if you remember last year, this Spanish promotion, AFL, Ansgar Fighting League, did an all-ladies event called Valkyries that I covered. And Emily Mata here won the atomweight title then. And now she's going to be defending it for the first time this Saturday against this Andrea Meneses. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this one. Last time I watched the AFL, the Valkyries card, it was on Fight TV, so FITE.tv. If you want to catch that, that's the atomweight title. So we got some atomweight action going on this weekend. Always fun to watch. And then, what is this one? Oh, Nicole Cyborg. So Chris Cyborg's promotion, or the promotion that she has lent her name to, has an event this weekend, an all-ladies event, I believe. But they have three title bouts. First up is a bantamweight bout for the vacant title. Tina Lemonier taking on Claudia Leite. Lemonier's coming in at 4-2. Leite coming in at 6-2, so somewhat similar records here. I think I've seen Leite fight before. Yeah, I watched her fight on SFT, I believe, once before. But other than that, not too familiar with either fighter here. But that is for the vacant bantamweight title. And then they have a fight for the vacant strawweight title. Nicole Cagliari taking on Bruno Brazil. Cagliari coming in at 4-2. Brazil coming in at 6-2-1. Now Cagliari, I know I've watched her before. Yeah, I've seen her in Pancrase once. Took a loss to Suri Kondo. And then took a loss to Kay Hansen at Invicta 37. One of the pretty blonde Brazilians that Invicta brought in to get taken down and smothered by Kay Hansen. So I don't think I've ever watched Bruno Brazil fight, but I know I've watched Cagliari fight. She's a striker primarily. Brazil looks like Bruno Brazil has fought a couple times for Shooto Brazil. She's coming in on a nice win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming in on a 5-fight win streak, whereas Cagliari's coming in. Cagliari hasn't fought since 2019, so. But whereas Bruno Brazil just fought in August. So Brazil's coming in hot. Cagliari's coming in cold. Usually know how that's going to turn out. Then in the, I believe this is the main event, atomweight championship. Alini Pires, the atomweight champion, coming in at 4-4, taking on Alessandra Fajeda, coming in at 3-1. Not too familiar with either of these ladies at all, but if I find out how to watch it, I will let you know on Thursday night. So that's in the Cal Cyborg 10. Then, of course, the big event this coming weekend is the UFC Fight Night. Was it Santos versus Walker? 4 ladies bouts again. Wait, or is it 3? 1, 2. No, 4. Another big night for the ladies in the UFC. Got, was this bantamweight? Yep, bantamweight. Shanna Young coming in at 7-3, taking on Stephanie Ager, coming in at 5-2. They're at the bottom of the bantamweight division. We'll just say that they're unranked. I believe both fighters coming off of losses. Yep, in their UFC debut. So both really need to pick up a win here in this one. So could get exciting. Could also get boring. We'll see. Because they might try to play it safe. Then we have the flyweight bout. Antonina Shevchenko taking on Casey O'Neill. Shevchenko, of course, coming in at 9-3. O'Neill coming in at 7-0, undefeated, putting her undefeated record on the line against, I'll be honest, this is going to be her toughest test yet for O'Neill. Because Shevchenko is a hell of a striker. Of course, O'Neill, I believe she's won her last 2 fights on the ground. So if O'Neill tries to take it to the ground, she could get the win against Chavchenko, who we've seen just isn't very strong on the ground, other than, the one win against Lucia Pudilova. Oh, she did beat Lipsky via ground and pound. But if O'Neill were smart, I think she would just strike just enough to get the takedown and then try to get Chavchenko down to the ground. But this should be a good one. Because Chavchenko, she's been bouncing off win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. Coming in off a loss here against Andrea Lee. Got submitted by Andrea KGB Lee, which isn't the best look. Whereas O'Neill is surging, 2-0 in the UFC. And showing a lot of promise so far. A long ways to go, though. I mean, she definitely has a long ways to go, but she's still young. She's only 23. Really needs to work on her ground game a lot and bring that up to the pace of her striking. But this should be a good one. Like I said, this is a big test for Casey O'Neill. And Shevchenko really needs the win here as well to avoid going 2 straight. Then we have the bantamweight bout between Carol Hossa and Bethe Correia. Bethe Correia swan song. The UFC had released her, and then she said, hey, can I come back for one more fight, and then I'll retire for good. She was supposed to take on Yanan Wu, and then that fight just kept getting, pushed back and canceled. So Yanan Wu ended up taking a different fight. Can't remember who she fought, but I know she lost. Carol Hossa, though, this is a much tougher fight for Bethe than Yanan Wu was going to be. I mean, Hossa, she hasn't lost since 2018. And she is, 3-0 in the UFC? Yeah, she defeated Lara Procopio, Vanessa Mello, and then Jocelyn Edwards most recently, back in February. Supposed to fight Sajara Eubanks. That fight got canceled. Now she's fighting Bethe Correia, and this should be a fairly easy win for Carol Hossa. I feel bad for Bethe because, she had a winnable fight for her retirement fight. Set up. Now this is a losing. This is an uphill battle for Bethe. So she's probably going to go out on a loss. And she's coming in off that loss to Penny Kienzat a year and 2 months ago. So Bethe Correia, she's going to be heading into retirement with a loss, most likely. Then up on, I believe, is this the main card? Or is this prelims? That's still on the prelims. So 3 ladies fought on the prelims, 1 bout on the main card. This is a big one in the bantamweight division. Aspen Ladd taking on Macy, how do you say this? Chasson? Taking on Macy C. Ladd coming in at 9-1. Macy coming in at 7-1. Of course, this is the first fight back for Ladd since she beat Yana Kunitskaya a year and 9 months ago. Had, I believe, ACL surgery since then. Before that, she had the loss to Jermaine Dandami 2 years ago. For Macy, she's coming on off a win over Marion Renault 5 months ago, preceded by a win over Shanna Young a year and a half ago. So Macy has fought twice since Aspen Ladd last fought. So Macy's coming in with a lot of momentum, whereas Ladd is coming in off of some serious rust and injury layoff. So it should be an interesting one. But Macy, I believe, let me see, bring the rankings back up here. UFC. They're both ranked. Ladd is number 3. Macy is all the way down at number 11 right now. So this is a big chance for Macy to break way up there into the top 10. Because if she beats Aspen Ladd, I don't know if they'll make her all the way number 3. I personally wouldn't move her all the way up that far. But if Macy beats Aspen, boom, bantamweight has a new contender already. Because Ladd, she's going to need some good wins in order to get really back into title contention, because a lot of people still have that memory of her losing to GDR like fresh in their minds, just getting dropped with one punch and then finished. And you can argue that it was an early stoppage. I don't think it was. But yeah, this is a big chance for Macy to break in to the upper echelons with a big win here over Aspen Ladd. For Aspen Ladd, it's a good chance to show, hey, I'm back. I can beat a tough fighter like Macy. And so the ring rust is gone. With the win over her, she can get back there and fighting, top 10 fighters. So that's it for this coming weekend. Also announced this past week, and I did a video on this. It's gotten some good views since then. The fan voting for One Championship Atomweight Grand Prix was announced. Itsuki Hirata is going to take on Ritu Fogat, and Stamp is going to take on Sahi Ham. Like I said in my video, this was like by far the most popular voting. You can see it here, 41.18%, way above the other two options. I voted several times. I voted for the option that won, but I also voted for this option here. As a Ham fan, I think Itsuki would be her easiest win against the other three versus the other two. So I voted for this one too. But mostly I voted for this one because it's going to be the more interesting matchups. Striker versus striker, grappler versus grappler. And then you guarantee a striker versus grappler in the finals. So I think they're going to be interesting bouts. This is a striking fan's delight right here. I mean, this could very well be a Super Series fight. I mean, if this wasn't happening in MMA, One Championship could easily schedule this as a Super Series kickboxing bout. Yeah, I'd say kickboxing because Stamp can do both, but Ham's not a Muay Thai fighter. So this is, I'll be surprised if this goes to the ground. Not too surprised, but a little surprised. I mean, both fighters are capable of fighting on the ground, more than capable. Stamp's come a long way. Ham's always had an underrated ground game, but on the feet, this is going to be a good one. Really good one. Very much looking forward to it. Whereas Itsuki versus Ritu, I think this is a fairly easy win for Ritu. Itsuki is way too one-dimensional of a fighter for Ritu, who her striking is coming along, but also her wrestling is far more diverse than Itsuki's judo so far, from what I've seen. So I think this almost guarantees a Ritu win here. But for the people watching, the chat is open. It's been open the whole time. If you want to say anything, because that's really all I have. But I will take some comments or questions before we go. Guess not everyone's shy tonight, but don't forget to hit the like button. Let me see here. So we got 6 people watching. Please hit the like button. We got to get those likes up, get more people watching. Also, before I go, I got my Instagram account approved with the One Championship Shop's affiliate program. So if you like the Panda Seongji Nan shirt, There is a link for 10% off in the description of this stream. Also in the description is a coupon code that you can use for 10% off any purchase at the, One.shop, the One Championship shop. So you get a 10% off there. I get a little bit kickback as well, either 10% off goods or cash. So if you want to buy anything of the One Championship, swag or gear, go ahead and please use that code. It'll help us both out. You'll get 10% off, and I get a little bit as well because I'm trying to diversify my portfolio, as it were. But the link goes directly to 10% off for this shirt, but the coupon code is good for everything. But, just wanted to share that as well. That's new. That I just got approved for that. But anyway, in the meantime, like I said, please hit that like button. Share the streams and the videos. I just released my Lee versus Souza review yesterday. Probably going to get a couple of the UFC videos done for tomorrow night. But keep an eye out for those. Hopefully I'll get them done. In the meantime, if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe. And we'll go ahead and we'll see you next time. Have a good night, guys.